Hello and welcome everybody to Katawa Shoujo. So I just opened up the load screen and it says, as you can read, Whispers of the Past. So is now his heart attack girl coming back? Well, not coming back, but you know, the girl who made him suffer the heart attack. Is she going to come now? We have her letter. So I don't know. On the other hand, well, it said Act 4. And since it's Act 4, then usually there are 3 acts or 5. No, it's unusual to have 4. So it seems there is a bit of story left. So let's jump right into it. Alright, there we go. The morning sun is bright through my open window, and the sound of my alarm quickly has me up and about. I slept surprisingly well last night, secure in the knowledge that at least I've got another chance with Amy. If I can just keep myself from doing anything stupid, maybe I'll find out what's been eating her recently. Yes, that's the right thing to do. I have a few educated guesses. Yeah, who doesn't? If you wouldn't have at this point, no, that's not right English. Well. I think at this point nobody expects me to speak right English. Correct English. I have a few educated guesses, but nothing concrete. And certainly nothing that I'm going to say to her. I'd much prefer to have her tell me herself. Amy is waiting for me as promised, looking a little haggard. Okay, but otherwise bright and cheerful. Much more so than any previous day this week. Isao, you're late. I waved my hand dismissively. Nonsense, you are just early, as usual. Amy grins back, and it feels like we're finally back where we should be with one another. Right. Except now, Amy, not just me, wants to take another step forward. Although a part of me worries that she'll back out at the last second. Yeah, that's possible. Hurry up and stretch, Isao. I don't want to miss the bus. The bus? Yeah, the bus. I want to show you something. And I don't want to be late. Oh, do they meet his former lover girl there? I was really wondering. At this point, I thought the love letter was just important if we would have taken another route. Ah, of course! Whispers of the past. Probably Amy's past. I'm an idiot. Of course, Amy's past. No, but the love letter would maybe be important, and not the love letter, but the letter of the other girl, you know, the girl from the beginning, would maybe be important if we would have taken another route, but I don't think at this point there will be something, you know, that she comes back and he doesn't know about his feelings or something like this. We are too far at this point. Oh, okay. I try not to grin too wide. I'm happy beyond words that Amy wants to hang out after the run at all, but the promise of showing me something has me even more intrigued. Intrigued, of course, intrigued. Is this what she had to think about? I wonder just what she's planning to do. I quickly go through my warm-up routine. A little thingy bouncing. Wait, I have to. The tongue and the cheeks. Oh well. I quickly go through my warm-up routine while Amy bounces impatiently from one foot to the other. She really does seem to want to get moving as soon as possible. The run is over so quickly I can barely believe that I haven't fallen over dead afterwards. Amy set a blistering pace, and I, my foolishness, kept up with her. Yeah. I really wouldn't wonder if he... You know, a visual novel with many endings might have a bad end. And, well, let's see. But I think at this point we did everything right with Amy, so we probably will live. Well, until the last few laps, I had to slow down just in case. But I don't mind, and Amy's waiting patiently for me when I finish. As patiently as she can wait anyway, yeah, right. Finish? Good, come on! Yeah, that's very patient. Grabbing my arm, she practically rushes me down to the nurse's office. You seem in a hurry, Amy. Trying to catch the early bus? Yeah, I thought Mom might be back for lunch. Well, I'll take care of you first then. But Hisa's gotta come with me too. The nurse raises a single eyebrow at the statement and peers at the two of us searchingly. Really? Today, huh? Amy's response is a nod, followed by a surprisingly shy grin. Well then, we'll make this quick. Amy enters the nurse's office and I patiently wait outside for her to be finished, wondering just why the nurse seemed to be surprised by Amy's declaration. Because it's something, you're an idiot. Well, everyone knows at this point, I don't even need to explain it. If someone of you does not know, of you people who don't even watch this, because nobody watches it, but if somebody sees this and doesn't know, we'll probably see. I feel like I'm missing out on some joke or the significance of today. Yeah, not the joke, but the significance, you douchebag. Beyond the fact that it is clearly significant in some way, of course. Okay, good. Okay, good, you're not as stupid as I thought. My bad. True to his verse, True to his word, the nurse has Amy out of his office surprisingly quickly, and I take her place after promising to meet up at the front gate. The nurse takes my pulse and listens for a bit. Your heart beats faster than usual. Pushing yourself again, have you? Well, Amy seemed in a rush to get through the run, so... I'm not surprised. Today is rather important to her, you know. I suspected that could be the case, but I have no idea why that is the case. She hasn't told you. Interesting. So you're not going to tell me either, then? Of course not. No, I'm not. I suspect that Amy has her own plan for explaining today to you, and I don't want to mess with that. You'll find out soon enough, so what's the rush? As for your heart, I would take it easy the rest of the day. No spontaneous races or anything like that, got it? Sorry, by the way, that I'm reading even worse than I do usually. I'm very far away from the screen today because I'm lying in my bed. Got it. She won't have her running legs on anyway, right? No, but if you think something like this is going to stop her. Good point, yeah. I don't think it'll be much of an issue today of all days, but still. If he's trying to reassure me, he's doing a terrible job. I'm quickly becoming more and more worried about what today could be for. Like suddenly finding out Amy is in a cult or something. Yeah, maybe in the eye of truth. You know? At the same time, if today is such a big deal and Amy wants me to be with her for it, then maybe she really does want to grow closer to me. Maybe this will be the answer to all the riddles, and the sleepless nights, the sudden mood swings. Either way, I barely remember to thank the nurse before taking off as quickly as I dare for my room, to get a shower and throw on some decent looking clothes. If today is as important as it seems to be, I should dress appropriately. Yeah, she wears what she usually wears when she's not wearing her school uniform. Amy, of course, proves me wrong as soon as I reach the front gate, wearing her usual shirt and shorts. She doesn't have any others. So at least I know it's not a terribly formal affair, whatever it is. You're early, Isao. Not as early as you. Eager, are we? Amy cheekily pokes out her tongue. Huh, I don't see that, but hey. The bus stop isn't very crowded at this hour, which seems to please Amy, and we end up relaxing a little as we wait. We sit in silence for a while, but I can tell that Amy is trying to work herself up to say something. I don't have anything to say myself, so I sit waiting for her to talk. It doesn't take too long. So, I'm sure you're curious as to why the nurse thought it was so weird for me to be bringing you along today. I was a bit, yes, but if you're not ready to tell me. Amy stops my sentence by placing a finger on my lips. Cliché. I swear nobody does that in real life. Or at least I've never experienced it or never seen it or something like this. Don't tempt me, Isao. I want to tell you this, but I'm just uncertain as to how to go about it. I don't want to keep delaying or deferring. I just want to be able to say it. So say it, Hiso. If life was that easy. You know that it's not going to be that easy for me, Hiso. So treat it like runnings. Warm up to it with something small and easy, and go from there. But don't do it too fast, okay? I'm a patient man. Yeah, you're not, but okay. I can wait for you to get to it. Amy seems to consider my words, weighing them against what is probably a desire to get it over with. I will admit, as much as I keep telling Amy to take her time, I wouldn't mind her getting it over with either. But somehow I know that Amy probably needs more time than the bus ride will provide to get it all out, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe you're right. The bus stop probably isn't the best place for this anyway. But just to make sure that I don't go back on my word, I'll at least say this. She takes a deep breath, lets it out, and after a moment says in a low voice, Let's. We're going to see my dad today. So he is dead. Okay. But why would you visit your dad on Christmas? Or maybe he's in a coma. Or something like that. Huh. Or maybe he is disabled himself, and but he didn't have the will to fight like Amy, or something like this. But in the moment, I don't know why you would visit a grave in Japan on Christmas. So I rather say it's a coma. But we'll see. The word hangs in the air, and I can see that Amy is afraid that I'll panic and disappear in response, which a part of me almost wants to do. But it would be stupid of me to back out, or to suddenly abandon the promise I made to be there for Amy when she needs me. The nurse thought it was so weird of her to bring me along. She doesn't bring anyone along. At least I'm willing to bet that she hasn't before today. The day seems to take on an even greater significance. What has it taken? English. Do you speak it? What has it taken Amy to even get this far? Ah. And why is that the best I can manage as a response? Yeah. I don't know what I should say. Nothing, I think. Just promise that you are going to come with me. Of course, you know I will. Amy smiles wanly, looking a little relieved. Good. In that case, we'd better get going. The bus pulls up just a little after she finished the sentence. Vague memories of my first trip out here come to my mind as I step off the bus, but unfortunately, they are too vague to be any use. Or do you say vague in English? I think vague. Oh well. I will be the first to admit that I don't quite recall how to get to Amy's house, so I let her lead the way. Oh, they are going to her house? Then the dad isn't dead, and probably not in a coma, otherwise he wouldn't be. I don't know, well, let's see. Oh, now I'm really excited. So let's make it more exciting by me talking nonsense. No. She seems content to walk in silence, and I myself have no idea what I could possibly say. So the two of us arrive at her house, having said nothing since getting off the bus. Amy's mother opens the door and doesn't seem surprised to see me standing next to her daughter. I expect that Amy would have phoned ahead to let her mother know of the change in plans. Amy, Hiso, you're just in time. Lunch is just about ready. Great! I was afraid we might be running late. As fast as you were going this morning, I doubt there was much of a chance of that. I certainly hope she wasn't too much of a bother, Hiso. She tends to get a little paranoid about being on time when food is involved. I hadn't noticed. This earns me a swat on the arm from Amy, who despite the serious nature of our conversation on the bus and the almost brooding quiet walk has quickly become cheerful again. Probably to keep her mother from worrying about whether it is Amy plans to tell me later. It is Amy. Amy's plan. Okay, probably. Otherwise, this would make no sense. Mrs. Ibarazaki ushers us in. By the way, if you're wondering, sometimes when there are mistakes in English and I say, "Oh, that's wrong," I just do that because I think I made the mistake, not because I want to be, a grammar Nazi or something. Mrs. Ibarazaki ushers us in, and in short order we are around the table, devouring lunch. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until I got here, but for once I seemed to be eating almost as much as Amy. Goodness, it's a good thing I made so much. The two of you are acting like you haven't eaten in days. I skipped breakfast this morning. Me too. Had to catch the bus, I assume. That, and I figured you'd make too much food so it wouldn't matter if I skipped breakfast. Well, it's good to know that I'm predictable. Amy nods enthusiastically, and conversation falls off again as we nearly clean the table of anything eatable. It is a testament to the sheer amount of food on offer that we don't finish everything. I lean back in my chair with a sigh and thank Mrs. Ibarazaki for the food. I'm glad you liked it, he said. Now, has Amy told you where we are going? Yeah, sort of. Is it far from here? Not really, but we'll drive there to save time. It closes kind of early. I nod in assent and stand up ready to go. Okay, it closes early. When does a cemetery close? Or a hospital? I want to know, come on. Well then, shall we? Mrs. Ibarazaki nods and leaves the room to grab her keys. Amy, I noticed, has started to fidget nervously. Second thoughts? Amy smiles tightly at me and shrugs. She has fallen silent again, which probably means that I'm right. She's starting to regret bringing me along. Not that I blame her. She has done such a good job of shutting me out that I doubt it's easy to suddenly open up. Honestly, I'm worried that she's forcing it. But she said while waiting for the bus that I'm not supposed to give her a chance to keep back out. And since I promised to go with her anyway, I suppose there's not much of a choice. Can't go back on my promise, and she can't go back on hers. I just hope the both of us are up to it. We're off. Amy's mother blows through the dining room. Blows? Huh, okay. Collects the two of us and heads out the door at a brisk pace. Now I know where her daughter gets it from. Maybe it's like blowing through some room is like running really fast or something like this. The car pulls up at... okay, so he's dead. But why would you why would a Japanese person go to her father's grave on Christmas? They mentioned that before. That makes no sense. Really? Maybe in Japanese it was Obon or something? I don't know. Well, anyway. The car pulls up at the cemetery gates and I feel Amy tense up beside me. I reach over and give her hand a comforting squeeze, which causes her to relax a little. Amy's mother doesn't follow us, explaining that she prefers to visit the grave alone. Amy steps through the gates and looks back, as if to make sure I'm still there. We step into the cemetery. I don't feel comfortable in cemeteries. Well, who does? Gravestones litter the ground, each one serving as a reminder that someone used to be alive and is no longer. How many died young? How many were as old as I am now? When do I wind up with a marker of my own? How much longer do I have left? The concept of not waking up, not seeing Amy anymore, is not a happy one. It frightens me, and I very nearly turn around and exit right then and there. I don't want to go among dead people. I don't want to see their stones and think about who they were, or what they could have been if they'd only had more time. Then I look at the girl next to me, and my resolve returns. Amy striding purposefully down the path, eyes clear, setting a pace that's very nearly a jog. The sooner we get there, I suspect she thinks, the better. We're here. A gravestone, wholly unremarkable in everything except for the name etched upon it. The grass has grown up around the base. Amy's eyes are riveted to the stone. After a few moments she turns around, looking surprisingly calm, yet solemn. Pink is not actually my favorite color, you know. What? I'm warming up to it. People tend to think that pink's my favorite color. I think it's because I like strawberries. And even though those are red, they just assume that pink's the right color for strawberry. No, I probably think because you're a little girl or something. You're not that big and all, so yeah, well. And that it's my favorite color, but it is not. I'm too polite to tell anyone otherwise, of course, and it's not the kind of thing worth getting worried about. But I'll bet even you thought pink was my favorite color. I didn't think that. Blue. That's my favorite color. My mom and dad are the only two who know that, and now you do too. Thanks for telling me, I think. You're welcome. There's a pause as she considers what to say next, drawing a quick breath. I can't carry a tune to save my life. I can hum, but actually singing a song is something I've never been able to do. I don't mind, because I'm not a fan of karaoke anyway. Well, that's one potential date idea out of the window. People all think that I'm really popular and a friendly person, but I only have a few close friends. Probably because I keep everyone in the dark, but I think it's also because I had the idea of losing a close friend. There aren't many people worth the risk. I'm terribly at saying goodbye. I sometimes think that I only run because it's what I used to do with my father. You're not my first boyfriend. I dated a guy for a while during my second year at Yamaku, but in the end we broke up because I didn't want to get closer to him. He couldn't live with the distance between us. Her rate of speaking increases slightly, as if she's rushing towards the finish line. I hope you didn't. Well, this is so much of Fields, but I hope you didn't do stuff with him like you did with Hiso, because that was really disgusting and I still have nightmares about that shit. I'm actually 1 year older than you. Everybody thinks I'm younger because I'm short, but I had to skip one school year because of my accident. They initially thought he didn't know how old you are until now. They initially thought I was paralyzed when they pulled me out of the wreckage. I'd lost my legs already. They were afraid that I wouldn't even be able to use what was left of them. After surgery, it was clear that their initial assessment was mistaken. I couldn't feel my legs because of shock. Short-term paralysis due to the other trauma I'd experienced. My recovery was one of the fastest they had ever seen, or so they told me. I never found out if they were serious about that, if they told that to all the patients learning to walk again. She pauses, gathering herself for one last effort. 8 years ago I lost my legs, and I lost my father as well. He died on the way to the hospital. I didn't even get to go to the gravesite until 2 months later, and couldn't attend his funeral. I'm so sorry. Don't be. That's what everyone always says, that they are sorry. I hate hearing that. Like anyone, you could have done anything to change what happened. You know the best piece of advice I got? These things happen. I don't even remember who said it, but I guess they didn't have anything better to say. But it's true, you know. These things happen. There's nothing you can do about it. They aren't necessarily planned. They aren't always bad. They aren't always good, but they are. So I made the decision that I would live without worrying about the future. And to be sure that I never had to say goodbye again, I decided I wouldn't let people get close to me anymore. After all, they could be taken away at any time. You know what? She laughs, a little bitterly. Her eyes start to well up with tears, and I step forward to embrace her, but she holds up a hand to stop me. I'm not finished. Deep breath, and she continues. It worked pretty well, until I met you, and saw that you were trying to adjust to stuff here, so I thought I would help. And then you were so nice, and I couldn't help it. I just... The tears are flowing now, and she accepts the embrace this time. The rest of her sentence is mumbled into my chest. I tried not to fall for you, but I did. And then I tried to keep you at a distance, like with my first boyfriend, but I couldn't. But I've been so scared, because I don't want to lose you, and I might anyway. Hey, I'm still around, right? Now maybe I won't be forever, but don't you think it'll be fun while it lasts? Neither of us could survive the day. It could be a bus crash, or something. But so long as I know that I've been with you, I don't think that it matters. A sudden thought strikes me, and I can't help laughing. My condition had me scared of dying so badly that I immediately seized on the opportunity Amy presented to improve my odds of living longer. But without Amy, would there have been any motivation to keep up with my running? It hits me that Amy is the reason I want to go running every day, so I can spend as much time with her as possible. Amy looks up at me, confused. We go on living until we stop. When we stop living, we'll be able to know that at least we've had time together. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Because I love you, Amy. And right now, that's enough for me. Amy smiles through her tears and steps back from me. You know, it's funny. What is? I thought that the best way to live in the moment was to do it alone. But now I don't think I'd have it any other way either. I'm glad I met you, Hiso. Well, these things happen. Amy and I stay by the grave for a while, as Amy pays her respect to her father. When she's ready to go, we exit the graveyard side by side. Amy's mother drives us back to Yamaku. The trip back is very quiet. We wave goodbye as the car drives off, and I glance down at the girl leaning on my arm. How are you feeling? Amy shrugs non-committally. You'll be fine. Come on, let's go. Oh well, this was probably, come on, let's go. We pause outside the girl's dorm, and I turn to face Amy, ready to say goodbye. I swear, if this turns now that way... Oh well. Why don't you come up for a while? Okay. The walk up to her room is in silence. I'm not sure why I supposed I'd be turned away at the dorm. I guess I just assumed she'd wanted to be alone. Her mom, the nurse, Hal, everyone who knew the significance of today seemed to think it best to leave Amy alone. But she took me into the graveyard with her. She told me the whole story of what happened on the day she lost her legs. She wanted me around. The significance of this does not escape me. Amy opens the door and steps into her room, not even bothering to invite me in, holding the door for me expectantly. I step in and the door swings shut behind me. Hey, can I ask you a favor? Sure. Can't guarantee I'll do it, but... Amy giggles and pulls me into a kiss that starts out soft but deepens into something almost desperate. Stay with me, please. The voice has dropped to a whisper. The question is barely audible over the sound of my own breathing. There's something about the way that she asks that question, the hesitancy in it, the quiet voice, that makes me think she doesn't mean tonight. No, she means exactly what she said. Stay with me, not tonight or forever, because both of us know there's no such thing as forever. There's no time limit to her request. There's just the request, the favor. Can I do that? Can I stay with her? Well, I don't decide, Hiso decides. Of course. We embrace again, Amy guiding me towards her bed, stepping backwards with care until she sits down on the edge. Ah, shit! Right, so apparently they had they made nothing too perverted, just no normal coitus thing and stuff. And afterwards, Amy told Hisao that she loves him. So, are we going on a little bit? Yeah, we are going on a little bit. The morning light seems to reach further into Amy's room than it does into mine. It results in my waking up earlier than I would have if I had gone back to my room last night, as had previously been our routine. I did not realize it until this morning, but that is the first time we've actually spent the night together. Yeah, well, depends on how do you define that? It's the first time you had sex at daytime, at nighttime, that's right. A small movement from my partner still slumbering form? I'm too far away from the goddamn scream. Causes me to look to the side. No, I have to go. Sorry. Alright, here we go. Hands blind across her face, Amy continues to sleep peacefully curled up next to me. It's slightly weird seeing her without her trademark twin tails, but it's also a look I could get used to. The small size of the beds her necessitates her curling up, but I'm pretty sure she would have done so anyway. The covers are nearly over her bed, and a smile as an errant strand of hair causes her nose to twitch slightly. Unable to help myself, I draw her a little closer, a move which she seems to think is a good idea. Her steady breath raises a trail of goosebumps on my chest, but I don't mind. I am no longer tired, but I do not feel a need to move from my current position. Amy's warm body in response against mine is far too comfortable to move. I gaze up at the ceiling and consider how it is that we got to this point. We've been close for a while, but not this close. It seems like only yesterday that she ran into me in the hallway. Well, it's not that long ago, a few months. And after apologizing, it decided to take an interest in my well-being. Well, there was quite a gap between those two things, you know. You were around with Lily and Hanako. Why did I run with Amy? I said I respect your relationship, but it saddens me so much that I couldn't end up with Lily. Oh well. But that grew into something else, which I at least was not expecting. One thing is for certain, having found Amy, I will try as hard as I can not to lose her. My morning musing is interrupted by further movement from Amy. Her eyes flutter open, and she seems briefly confused by my presence in her bed, as well as her current state of dress, which is non-existent. Ah, well, I can show that at least. Well, she really looks better with open hair, you know. The twin tails make her look more like a little girl, you know. I like that look better. Then she smiles happily and sits up, her face looking down at me. But that ass cheeks. Good morning, Hisao. Hi, sleep well? Yeah, I did. Exhausting day yesterday, you know. I think back over yesterday's trip to the graveyard. Yeah, glad to hear you slept well. How did you sleep? Well enough, although you kept hogging the covers. This earns me a shove and a stuck-out tongue. I chuckle and Amy giggles a little, and we fall quiet for a while. I soak up the feeling of how right it all seems, waking up with Amy by me, crammed into a bed made for one person. It's something I could get used to. Hey, Hisao. Thanks for sticking around. No problem. Saved me the walk back anyway, right? This draws another giggle. Then Amy's expression turns serious again. No, really. I kept trying to push you away, because I thought that was the right thing to do. And you stuck around through it all. I haven't made any of this easy for you, but you stuck it out anyway. So really, I mean it. Thank you. She punctuates this by giving me a kiss, pulling back and looking at me with an expression of affection. I reach up and ruffle her hair, smiling all the while. I'm stupidly lucky, I think. To have come through everything after my heart attack, to somehow have found this girl is nothing short of a miracle. You are very welcome, Amy. I couldn't bear the thought of giving you up. I'll even continue to stick around if you want. I would like that. That settles it. I don't know how long my heart will keep working, and I don't even really know what I'll do after this year is over, apart from going to university. As long as Amy's around, I think I'll be okay. I've managed to help her, and she's managed to help me. If we keep doing that, we'll be okay, I think. So. Huh? What do you want to do today? Oh, come on, please, spare me from your activities. Is it the end? Ah, there is an epilogue or something. Is this really the end? Like 100% end? Yes, it is! Oh my holy balls. I thought this would go on like for 5 parts or something. And it was Act 4. Act 4 was so short. I have to say the conclusion was a little bit too short for my taste. I don't know how many parts we have been working to this grave visit. It was like 6, 7, 8. We knew something was wrong and we worked on our relationship, and then everything great. And like we are now at minute 39. So in 39 minutes everything gets okay. Oh my god, I have the pictures. Oh shit, I didn't look at all of them. Alright, I have to watch my own video. Oh, that's it, is it? Oh, come on, some kind of epilogue. No! No! That's it. That's really it. Oh my. Oh my. Oh god, I spent so many hours playing this game. But it was worth it. I could have lived without the pervert stuff. You know, if they have sex or something or and it is mentioned, I can take it. But why do we... I don't want to... If I want to watch a porn, I don't do a let's play of it, you know. Oh man. But it was really nice. The story was really nice. And it was okay that he ended up with Amy. Wasn't what I planned to do. But in the end it happened. Maybe at one point I'll try to get to Lily. Or just I'll play from another point, you know, and make a different decision. Just to end up with someone else. Would be interesting. This is the original end from my very first playthrough. Amy. And in the end she trusted us and everything was fine. I wonder if I really would have. I don't know if Risa would really die or if he would just be alone. I think he would have died if we did something bad. I think I even read this somewhere. By accident. Did I read this? It's sometimes hard to remember if you read something or if you just imagined, if you came up by yourself with it. I haven't read What Can Happen. I just read it by accident, I think. If I read it. Maybe this was for other game. Dying part? I don't really remember. But maybe I read it, so if I did, I'm sorry. So, anyway, this was a nice ending. A touching last episode. I was really touched at the grave part. So touched by the grave part, I really had a little bit of tears in my eyes. Oh well. Still, the conclusion was a bit too short for my taste. But the game itself was wonderful. The game itself was wonderful and it was for free! It was for free! So much work for free! thank you so much to the guys that were mentioned in the credits. I already forgot your names. But people, if you watch this, go back to the credits, read the names, and be thankful, because this was awesome. This was really awesome. So, I thank the guys who made this game. I thank the people who watched this, if someone is going to watch it. And next I'm going to play probably another. Well, right in the moment I don't have very much time. I have to prepare for university, and so I have many games that are still open. I have to go on playing Curse, the Eye of Isis, but I have to find out what I need to do there, so I'm not that motivated to play it right now. And then I have Midnight Puppeteer, which I'm going to go on playing, and I have to make an ending video for Utopia, but I'll do that when I want to, because you know, this is just a hobby, and I can watch people. You can see people who see this and nobody watches it anyway, so I don't think you will be too angry with me if I wait a little bit until I do the ending video for Utopia. So, and next I'm going to play speaking about visual novels, I'm going to play Cherry Tree High Comedy Club. So, if you want to see that, maybe you want, maybe you don't, then come again. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.